So are y'all ready to fight about relationships? Because this one is going to cause a fight. It's going to cause a fight because in this situation, what the young lady is saying is that when she first married her husband, she was this size. But after a year, she was that size. Now, as a former personal trainer, I find it difficult to believe that she went from that to that without there being some type of serious medical situation, but she didn't mention any serious medical situation. So I'm more inclined to believe that that is over a 5 to 7 year period of time to go from that to that. Now it is possible, but that's a lot of stress on your body. And she says that since she went from that to that, her husband no longer desires her sexually. He no longer finds her attractive and he doesn't have any desire to be with her anymore. And if she doesn't lose the weight, then the relationship is going to be over. That's where the fight is going to come in. Because already off the bat, most women are going to say a couple of different things. The first thing that they're going to say is that you should love the woman for who she is, not for what she looks like, because beauty fades. And in the comments of that post, many people did say that. They were saying that, hey, you should love her for who she is. If you really loved her, it wouldn't matter. But let's be real. Men and women are created differently. Men and women look at the world and view the world differently. Most men are very visual. And so that visual acuity says, I like this, I don't like that. Now, there are some men who like that and don't like this. But when you first met someone, this is what they fell in love with, not that. Or if they do like this, they fell in love with this, not that. Obviously, her husband fell in love with this, not that. And if you become sexually unattracted to your wife, it is very difficult to maintain the love when you feel this. So therefore, it is not incumbent upon women to tell men when they are in love and why they should love someone. Now, the other thing that I thought about as soon as I saw this, that y'all are going to argue about and be upset about, is the fact that I liken this to a man who loses his job and then don't want to do anything about it. You see, now I give the young lady credit. She did say that she wanted to hear real advice. So I'm going to give some real advice. Her friends were giving her a bunch of other advice. Here's the real advice. A man who loses his job but then don't want to do anything about changing it, about fulfilling his responsibilities as a provider, something that the woman may have looked upon for a mate, because in most situations, women do want a man who provides. He may or may not have to provide 100% of the lifestyle, but most women want a man who's doing something to a level that she is comfortable with. Y'all are going to say, well, a woman's body is not like a man desiring to go to work. That's a choice. A woman's body is a choice as well. You see, too often, women feel like, oh, we can't say nothing about them. We can't give any criticism about them. If we say anything negative about them, then we're being toxic. But a woman can say anything she desires negatively towards a man, and that is not toxic. Well, a man would view this the same way as women view their bodies. If a man is sitting there and he is not working and is not doing anything to try to get a job, to go out and provide for his family, you're going to say he's a deadbeat. You're going to say that he's not a man, he's worthless. That you're going to tell this woman that she should leave that man. But if a man says, I'm gonna leave a woman for this reason, oh, he's not a good man. He didn't really love her in the first place. And you don't know, she might have thyroid, she might have this, or might have that. And like I said, unless there's a medical situation that you can provide and prove, then it's just you. Oh, she might have had a baby. Having a baby doesn't create that. It doesn't. I got 3 children, and 2 of them came through with difficulties. It doesn't create that. This is willful. That is something that you can do something about. That, unless somebody likes that and desires that, that is not good. And it's not good for her. That is a health problem waiting to happen. That is heart disease. That is diabetes. That is cardiovascular disease. That's problems. That's medical problems waiting to happen. You are shortening your life by allowing yourself to go from that to that and maintaining this. but you're going to say that it's not fair and that's wrong. And I can't believe you're such a psychopathic, controlling, narcissistic, whatever type of male. I don't really care. I don't really, I could care less because that's not acceptable. And then you're going to say, another argument, well, he should encourage her. He should go walk with her, run with her, work out with her. He should go and support her in her endeavors to try to lose this, right? So let me ask you the question then. If you have a man who lost his job and now he's not motivated to go out there and get a job, are you going to say you should support him? You should motivate him. You should encourage him. Most women will say he should be self-motivated. He shouldn't need that. A good woman would. A good woman will recognize the depression that he went into and say, let me help you get out of this. Let me help you build the family back up. So if you will say that for a man towards this, you should say the same thing on opposite direction. Let me give you an example that happened in my life. So I was with this young lady, and I have zero tolerance for violence. So after a 2-week long of argument over argument, I just wanted to get a break from the argument, and I just wanted to go to the gym. Her statement was, then why don't just go to the gym? What are you going to take a little break for? Why don't you just take a whole break and leave? Leave for good. I said, okay. You see, don't try to call my bluff. No, don't put it out there. Like, don't say things to me that you don't really mean, because I'm going to take it literally. So I said, okay. And I went. And I was in the process of had my phone, had the credit card, had my card so that I can establish an Uber account so I can call the Uber. And there's a whole bunch more as to why I was calling the Uber instead of getting in a car. Well, hell, I'll tell you that part anyway. So when it came time to get a new car, because her credit was better than mine at the time, and me thinking that we're a team, it made more sense to get the lower interest rate by just having her name on the car instead of mine. So when I said, okay, fine, I'm leaving. Oh, you can't drive my car. Okay, that's fine. Let me call this Uber, set this up. So then my phone was snatched out of my hand. My credit card was snatched out of my hand. I picked it up. It was snatched out and thrown. I picked it up. It was snatched out again, and then trying to be held away from me and all of that. And so, and it was not just snatching. It was a slap, snatch, grab kind of thing. That's too much violence for me. When you start, want to snatch stuff and slap stuff out my hand, that's too much violence, see? And as a black man in America, I don't need the police coming at all. Right? So I grabbed her by the wrist so I can get my card, and I got my stuff, and I left. Now, for the few people who were privy to my life at the time frame, when I explained to them what happened, the first couple of people said something very interesting to me. Well, what did you do to cause her to do that? So then I turned around and asked them the same question. A similar question. I said, let me ask you a question. If I had done that to her, would you ask me, what did she do to cause me to do that to her? And the answer was, no, I would never ask that question. Because how can a man do something to a woman to cause her? Well, how can a woman do something to a man to cause him to act that way towards her? You see, they couldn't understand it until I presented it to them. That type of double standard does not exist, should never exist. A man doesn't do anything to cause a woman to be violent, nor does a woman do anything to cause a man to be violent. So when you say that she should be encouraged and supported by her husband, then when he loses his job and he's not providing and you don't find him attractive anymore, are you willing to say the same thing, that she should be encouraging to that man? That's the question. And if she doesn't want to do anything about it, you would tell that woman. If he doesn't want to do anything about it, you tell that woman to leave. So will you do the same thing here? So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.